I wasn't one of those really highly recruited guys, but for the schools that were interested in me, it was certainly plenty of face-to-face conversations, even in the home. Um, and I mean, it showed a lot of love, but again, it was different than the way love is shown today.
Yeah.
Love is shown more openly and overtly, like in a social media realm. But it was it was heavy, but again, it was much more personal in the house, phone conversations, things of that nature.
I mean, it's certainly evolved. What was we all three of us played ball in college, and you played as well. What was your experience like?
I mean, we're all the same age group, and you sitting in class, knock on the door. Hey, you go on the field house. Somebody's here to see you. Throughout December, January, February, and a dude showed up one day from a school I'd never heard of. Took the visit, and one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. We're friends for life, and yeah, it was good.
Welcome back to the TheVisionLab podcast in partnership with Next One Creative. I'm your host, Ryan Cuffey, alongside with my co-host, Mr. Ryan Mosley. The TheVisionLab is the official growth mindset podcast for all visionaries worldwide, showing mad love to the cigar community. It's here in the lab where we uncover people's visions and dreams and how those dreams actually come into reality. Folks, it's all about tapping into and becoming the best versions of ourselves through self-discovery, self-examination, and self-actualization. Hey, yo, Mo, who we got on the show?
Cuff, today's guest, come from all different corners of the recruiting world.
Yeah.
We have Coach Anthony Chris, who is currently the head coach at Arlington Sam Houston in Arlington, Texas. We have Steven Salas, our main man Salas, who is representing the dads who currently have children in the recruiting process.
Yeah.
And our man OT, Omar Turner, who can speak to the recruiting process and what he's dealing with on a youth level when it comes to select sports and things like that.
Well, gentlemen, first of all, I want to say thank you to each one of y'all for dropping into the lab. You know, Salas, you and I hang out all the time. We smoke a lot. We have opportunities to have some real connecting moments. You're a father of a pretty good high school athlete that's being recruited all across the country. And it's through those conversations that we've had where really, to me, it made me think about how many other parents, whether the student athlete is in a single parent household or a dual parent household, or there's uncles and aunties that are helping out, right? What that process looks like, because we're all old and washed up, right? I mean, when did you graduate? 96, 95?
93.
Ooh.
Damn. Ooh. Maybe we're not in the same age.
Hey, man.
I'm not hating. I'm just
46
saying.
years young. So.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I can dig it. All right.
And Mo, you're
2002.
And I was 99, best class ever. And I just think that I mean, it was. It said the best for last. But, the game has changed so much with the evolution and introduction of social media, and really you have the ability to take the whole recruiting process in your hands, which is vastly different, from what we all experience. And all four of us had the opportunity and the privilege to play beyond our high school years. And so it's through that conversation that I really wanted to not only pick your brain, but have you sit down with a legend in the game and Coach Anthony Chris, who's seen every aspect from, recruiting, play out from the college level and so on, or the high school level and so on. So I want to say thank you to everybody getting in. And we're going to do a little different tonight. We're just going to have an open roundtable discussion. No true Q&A from what we normally do. But I just want to dive into it. You know what I mean?
I'll say from my curiosity standpoint, Coach Chris, you can speak to it because you live it on a daily basis now. And obviously you got plenty of experience. From the process that we four experienced, besides social media, what's the biggest difference in the way things are handled now for kids who are actually being recruited?
Well, the pandemic has been really different.
Yeah.
Because all you guys experienced, which is still the same until last year, was coaches coming to the school, pulling the kid, knocking on their door, going to get a kid. Coaches haven't been allowed out in 2 years. They haven't seen guys who on the field, they were freshmen. And so now you coming in as a coach, you get kind of, from my point of view, everything's been an email and a phone call. They haven't showed up to the school. So for this pandemic, it's been different. The seniors being able to come back for a 5th and a 6th year, it's been different. And so now it's been frustrating because the freshmen are coming out, class of 22, those who just came out in 21, it was difficult because that high-ranked Q, the ESPN 300, those kids stayed the same. But it was the other kids, the other 200 or 300 or 400 kids left.
The late bloomers.
Yes, they didn't get a chance because nobody could come out. Nobody could see them. It was strictly on film. Film and your word of the coach. Well, the word went way down because it became film. Then it became, is he 285? Is he 305? Is he 4'7"? Is he 4'4"? Is he 4'3"? Is he? So that has changed. Social media is big in it. I had to change my way of doing things because social media the platform plays such a big part. You see it all the time. I'm blessed to receive an offer. I'm going here. And so
Yeah, I just remember back in the day, it was like, okay, you just keep it to yourself and keep it moving.
Yeah.
right.
You don't want to make yourself a target.
No. And I'm kind of different on that because I heard kids all the time say, I'm blessed to receive an offer. I said, you're blessed to commit.
Oh, that's good.
That's when the blessing comes because the offers can get snatched.
Yes, they can.
So if you blessed to commit, I said, it's all about National Signing Day. It's all about when you sign, the period after signing day. That's when you get happy. And so the game has changed so much that what people don't really understand out there what are real offers, what are real scholarships.
Man.
And so you talk about NAIAs and D2, D3s, D2s, you'll see all this on this platform, and everybody has the misperception of that. Hey, that's a full ride. Oh, I'm so happy for you because your kid has a scholarship.
No.
And that's not really the truth.
Yeah.
So
But I want to go back real quick because you said, obviously, we jumped right into the pandemic, which that's a whole different ball game within itself, right? But it's real, and it's what we're experiencing right now. Did I hear you say that kids are getting a 5th year in high school?
no, in college.
Oh, in college,
You
okay.
got a 5th and a 6th.
But that is affecting high school,
High school recruiting.
Yes.
Because now I'm staying in there a little bit longer.
Well, you don't have a need. Okay, I have Ryan Cuffey, who's is an all-SEC corner. He gets to come back. I don't need to go get Steve Salas, who is the 5-star or the 4-star corner, because my proven college kid is coming back. Yeah, this is a high school kid, but I know what Cuffey can do.
Yeah.
I got to hope and see what Salas does.
Yeah.
So guess what? I pass on Salas because I got Cuffey for 2 more years. It's almost like the pros. I get Cuffey for 6. So if I can get Cuffey for 6, I don't need to recruit Salas.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And now, do you know from a college level, are these kids allowed to get their, an advanced degree? And what happens, if injury and how insurance and all that stuff plays out?
Yeah, so the kids in the college, it's worked out for them. You're going to see more kids ever graduate with their masters because they stayed on scholarship.
Yeah.
I had one of my former kids came to see me yesterday. He's going to go to Jackson State. He already has his degree coming from Liberty. So now he's going from Liberty to Jackson State. He's going to get a master's.
Wow.
Because he still has a year of eligibility left. He's going to take advantage of it. He's going to do it.
One of my biggest collegiate regrets was not redshirting my freshman year because I would have gotten my MBA from Vanderbilt. But that's a different story for a different day. But as you look up with your son,
Man.
what are you thinking? What are you seeing as a father?
Well, as far as recruiting, as far as kids getting an extra year, you also got the transfer portal.
Yes.
So you got teams, some big name Dallas teams, where they basically recruit out of the transfer portal. They don't even worry about the high school kids.
No.
So now my kid is 6'5", 215 pounds, runs a 4.6, can catch anything. And we're like, nah, we good. Because we got a kid coming from Arizona State who's from DeSoto, who it didn't work out for him for 2 years in Arizona State, but he's already put on 15 pounds, and he runs the same 40 as your kid, but we're going to take a chance on him instead of taking a chance on your kid.
So it's almost like you're caught in this weird
No
2
man's
year
land.
no man's land.
It's tough, man. And then on top of that, with my kid, he had an injury, so he didn't play his whole sophomore year. So his rankings aren't as high as they should be. He's still ranked. Thank to God, he has 3 stars. But even before he didn't have 3 stars, colleges wouldn't even respond back to him. They wouldn't even answer his tweets. And now it's like, oh, he's a 3-star. Now we need to talk to him. It's like nothing changed. His film didn't change. It's now the political part of the stars came. Now y'all see that. So it's a whole mess, man. And I blame it on the NCAA. I don't blame it on COVID. Because when NCAA said, 1, they can transfer, 2, that they can get to keep another year, they should have said, okay, now y'all get 20 more scholarships. When you kept them at the same scholarships, you are limiting, like class of 21, screwed. Class of 2022, they not going to get screwed as bad, but when you got schools that don't have to get rid of kids they have, or this kid was supposed to go to the NFL or go to Canadian League, and now he gets to come back, like Coach said, it's a bad situation. There's a lot of kids missing out on opportunities, man.
So who's the benefactor of that? Is it the JUCOs? Is the junior college the benefactor of that?
27 class of
Same
2017.
thing in JUCOs. JUCO their kids got another year too. So JUCOs, when I'm sitting there and I'm calling the JUCO coach, we're not taking anybody out of high school this year.
Wow.
He said because those kids got to come back too.
So does that? Oh man, that's crazy. So JUCOs aren't even getting more, high star athletes into their programs because there's no need for them there either.
Because all those kids would come back and build their value for another year.
Which, like what Salah said, I got a guy who's already put on 20 pounds. I got a guy who's already going to class. I got a guy who's already understand college. I got a guy who knows important. You get in that portal and you transfer, they get it. That, I got to go to school.
Yeah.
Well, that high school kid, he has to transition to being a college student, right? And so it's not going to, I talk to college coaches all the time, it's not going to level back out to 23. He said then it goes back totally normal in 24.
So going back to Mo's question, I mean, who do you feel or who do you see as the benefactor right now?
The college kids.
Yeah.
The schools. Because what you got a chance to do is, just think about this. The only kids who are leaving Alabama are the ones who are going to the draft.
Right.
So those kids come back.
Right.
You get to come back again. So if you're like a program like Tennessee, who said, you know what, I got all these kids, and I'm not going to play any freshmen. I got these kids coming back. I got to get them up to par. So
the whole class.
Yeah, so you're sitting there. It's almost like for this little period of time, they turn into pro teams.
Yeah.
And so now, here's where they're going to suffer because they didn't recruit. So when all those kids next year, when they push them all out, then all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute, you sitting here with non-experience. So there's that gap. So really and truly, and y'all will see it, you won't see it return to 27. Because I know that sounds crazy, but 27, you'll get back to
your cover's going to be bare in 23 or 24 because it's that group you redshirted when you push them all out there. To your point, you didn't take anybody to replenish what you were getting to put out there. And so you'll look up and it'll be senior day and the teams will have like, oh, we got 9 seniors today.
Yeah.
I'll give you another example. There's a kid from Sean's school, from Creekview High School. He graduated in 2019 when Sean was a freshman. He went to a lower level D2 school, I believe. It's a big safety. And he just put on Twitter, he's transferring. He's looking to find another school. He has 4 years of eligibility left.
Yes.
He redshirted.
Even started
Exactly. He redshirted, and he got to keep this year because of COVID. So now he gets to go anywhere in America and come in as a freshman. 2 years of experience.
Hopefully them credits transfer.
Man.
Well, it doesn't matter because you could still finish in 4 years.
This is true.
I mean, you would love for the
You do
kid.
want to try to take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of that school, some of that got
love
transfer.
you would love for the kid to be able to get an advanced degree or a dual degree or something like
At least
that.
get freshman English out the way.
So, OT, we got you on the show. You're bringing a couple of different dynamics to the table. Obviously, being recruited out of high school, playing some ball in the NFL, or having a camp stay in the NFL. But you also bring the element of baseball, which I'm super intrigued about. And so you get to see from a select baseball coach's perspective what other in a different sport, like what other coaches are looking for from their kids. Can you kind of speak to that?
It's much the same, except even more difficult. And here's where the difficulty comes from. In a college scenario, especially in your D1, most D2s, I think D3 is kind of where it starts to go away, and then JUCO, it's not such a big factor. But from a D1 perspective, you have 11.7 scholarships that you have to try to divide up amongst anywhere from 35 to 45 players. You're also going to have quite a few kids that aren't on scholarship at all. And they are allowed to stay in that institution as long as the coach will allow them to. And in terms of the recruiting process, it has really retarded a bunch of kids that do not have the ability to now sign a portion of that 11.7 because they've got too many kids coming back that typically would have left. Beyond that, in MLB, where there used to be anywhere from 30 to 40 rounds of an MLB draft, there's now only 5 rounds. So a lot of kids that would have gotten drafted and would have left college campuses are now choosing to go back because the opportunity of the draft no longer exists for them. So it has really changed the landscape in that regard.
You know, when you're talking to your kids that you're currently coaching, what are some of the things that you're telling them as it relates to how to get recruited, you know, now in a pandemic, you know, recruiting season or cycle?
I think the best way for me to answer that is to exercise patience. Whereas most kids would love to have gone out to the D1 campuses, now let's take a harder look at the JUCO route, the JUCO option. That way, if you go spend a year or maybe 2 on a JUCO campus, considering the COVID year that other kids have, now you can still move on to the D1 campus and have the opportunity to collect some of that 11.7. That is really the best way that we have been able to have kids kind of reset, retake a look at the landscape, and make better decisions for themselves. Because if you choose to still try to go Division I, even though you have D1 talent, if you choose to go Division I, chances are you're not going to get any scholarship money, or it's going to be minimal at best. And then you're probably not going to play for 2 or 3 years. So,
Well, let me ask you this. I've heard that sometimes it's always better to go JUCO in the baseball world as opposed to D1.
if you are not going to be a kid that's going to show up at a TCU or Texas A&M, Baylor, Texas, whatever, and play as a freshman, or legitimately have an opportunity to play as a freshman, it is absolutely best case scenario for you to go to a JUCO and get your time in on the diamond. What happens is the coaches are still recruiting every year, right? So while you're sitting waiting for a year or two, they're already trying to recruit your replacement. So while the next kid has more eligibility than you do, may even have more money on scholarship than you do, that kid's going to get the opportunity to play before you do. And they're always recruiting out of junior college campuses and junior college programs. So go get your playing time in. Not only that, it typically helps from an academic perspective because you're really involved with what you're doing versus just going to class and being upset that you're not getting an opportunity to play.
I'm going to switch gears. Before I do, allow me to say thank you to one people who supports us.
Yeah.
And that's Edwina Brown and the family at Blowing Smoke Cigar Lounge in Duncanville, Texas. EB, we appreciate all your support. You know, if you need anything from us, give us a call. The Instagram handle is at Blowing IN Smoke. Again, it's in Duncanville, Texas. It's a great establishment. Make sure you guys get there. It's a great place to be. Anybody on the southern part of the Metroplex, get to Blowing Smoke Cigar Lounge in Duncanville, Texas.
Duncanville Panthers class of 93.
Oh my gosh, this guy.
He can still remember it.
Huh.
Well,
So-
real quick, I also want to give a big shout out to the OG himself,
Absolutely.
Jeff Davis,
Yes, sir.
over at Astute Gentleman. Another, we're here again. It really feels like home.
All the
And so anyone that's here in Dallas, make sure you come holler at Jeff. It's a phenomenal spot. Real quiet, laid back. You can get get a haircut. He's got an open bar for you, and you can get some cigars. So shout out to the OG.
So my college experience, it's one thing to be the man in high school, But then when I call it being dropped in the fish tank, and you realize that you're not the only angry fish in the tank. From your perspective, Coach Chris, how do you describe that? Because I've got teammates from college and high school who now have kids in high school, and they're trying to tell us, they prepped them from college, like, son, look, the coach, yeah, he loves you. Like, his job is to get you there, but please understand, like you were saying, OT, like, his job is to get somebody in there the next year who's better than you. And one of my teammates in college told his son, he was like, look, son, it is survival of the fittest now. Like, the room has changed, and he was doing everything he could to try to explain that to his son, and he didn't understand it until about halfway through his freshman year, and he was like, Dad, I see what you mean now. So you being a coach, and you get to talk to college coaches every day of the week, how do you explain it to the kids that you kind of help make those decisions?
Well, I explain to my kids in a manner of this. You are the best person, best player at Sam Houston High School. You believe that you're the best player in Arlington. You want to be the best player in Tarrant County. Then you want to be the best player in Texas. But you have to understand that they recruit the nation. And so they're already recruiting to replace you right now. I say, so you are, let's just take it now. So right now we got class of 22 coming up next, okay? When I see college coaches here in June 1st, when they open back up, Coach Chris, what about your 23s? What about your 24s? Mm-hmm. Is there anybody in 25? They're already trying to replace you. Your job is not to be replaced. So how do you do that? Because see, all this love that they channeling towards you, everything that they telling you, all this love that they giving you, soon as you step on campus,
it's over.
It goes away. I said, now, the college coaches hate that I say this. I said, they lie to you. They said, well, Coach, that's a strong word. We don't lie. I said, case in point. So my son played at Baylor. And I had a son play at Langston, a son play at Baylor, a son play at Texas Southern University. I put my son on the phone. Son, when you went on all your recruiting trips, when you went to Tulsa, went to Baylor, what did they have? Your jersey with what? Your number on the back, 26, Chris on the back. Coach sat there and told you, right, that you're going to wear 26. So he showed up the first day of Baylor, getting all 26, got all these shirts made. First day of issue, he got number 27. He said, but they told me. And I said, I told you. I said, and I sit there and listen to the head coach lie to you. But I told you that that's what they were doing. Because at the end of the day, that's what they're doing. Because there was another kid that wore 26, and there was another kid that wore 26. Y'all both played DB, you both couldn't wear it. So understand this. Your mindset on what you're going to school for has to change. You have to understand what you're going to do. And so I explained to them like that. It's like, okay, we're going, don't get replaced, but you got to have the mindset, what happens when you get replaced? What happens? Because there's a dude out there better than you. There's a dude out there faster than you. There's a dude out there that's stronger than you. There's a dude out there that has a skill set that's better than your skill set. So here's what we do. What are we going to do? Why are we going to get the college scholarship? What are we doing? At the end of the day, are we going to try to get the paper or are you trying to go to the league? Both are attainable. But what's the number one goal?
Okay.
The number one goal is the piece of paper.
Sure.
The league will come in itself. You could go, I have kids do this. I said, let's pull up random roster. Let's take Buffalo Bills. Pull them up. How many schools you don't recognize? I said, take the Houston Texans, pull it up.
Look at the quarterback. You can stop at the quarterback for the Bills.
You just go, but I just tell them, go down where you don't recognize. I said, now where you want to go again? I said, okay, I'm not hating on the Horns. But University of Texas, okay, let's take the last 4 drafts. Let's take the first 2 rounds. But you just got to go throw them up. You got to gig them. You got to sick them. So what you have to do is understand, where do you fit best? And what is it the best fit for you? Okay, and I tell kids all the time, and this is the toughest part. This is the toughest part that I do, is you can't go play for your mom. Can't go play for your daddy. Can't go play for your granddaddy. Can't go play for Big Mom. Because guess what? At 4:30 in the morning, when they're alone, get up.
Ain't nobody there but you.
It's about you.
Your
So
roommate better help you.
you better get it. So you better understand, because guess what you do? Because you can wake up saying, I'm only getting up at 4:30 in the morning out here on this beach in California, where it's actually 6:30 at home, but it's 4:30 out here because my mama loves sunny California. So I go through this whole array. I'm different. I go through this whole array of What is our end goal? What are we trying to do?
You reverse engineer it.
Yes, because you know, because if I can talk you out of a place, then you go. If I can't talk you out of it, that's where you need to go. Mm-hmm. And so I had kids come back all the time. And I had a former kid yesterday, came back, talked to our kids. I said, this kid right here went to Liberty University. So, and I told him, we don't say it too loud. But when he went to Liberty, he got a chance to talk to the president. He talked to Trump. I said, at the end of the day, you still, I don't care how we feel about the man. You talk to the president of the United States of America. Mm. How many people get a chance to do that? Mm. So you parlay that. Because now he has his degree, and he started talking to me yesterday about what do I do when I get ready to go forward. So what I try to do is make him understand everything. The ball, the school, the whole nine, because that's what you have to do. Because this is what I firmly believe in this. When we go, we not transferring. Man. Because the first thing they asked me, they said, Coach, I want to transfer. I said, wait, time out. So hold on. You a D1, right? Yes, sir. So they took your money? No, Coach. Wait a minute. FREE, right? Mm. I said, I had a college athlete. I said, I saw the invoice. $18,885.37. Amount due, Mr. Chris, 0.
Come on.
So did that change? Well, if that didn't change, well, Coach, they don't like me. Mm. Oh, wait a minute. They don't like you? Well, how about what you not doing? So I go into that big old spiel, and successfully I've had kids on the low end of transferring because we got to keep the main thing the main thing. You know, now sometimes if it's a coaching change, then we got to get out of there. Right. Because they ain't trying to do anything right by you with your degree or anything. Right. So now we can get out. But the coach didn't like you. Oh, because he didn't say, he didn't pat you like he did when he came in the office. Come on. He didn't give you the nice rose. Oh, because you're not on the same tour. Everybody not falling all over you. So that what you mean not like you? So no, we ain't doing that.
Yeah. I appreciate you saying that. Like I said, I've talked to teammates who got kids and they're like, Mo, like I'm trying to tell my son, like the second I drop you off, like you are part of the kennel. Like it is eat what you kill every single day. And like he's like some of them get it, and other ones like they got to hit their head first.
Not my kid. They loved him on his recruiting.
Okay. So if I may interject, Coach, you said get your paper or go to the league, and when you meant paper, I was hoping, as I was thinking, paper was also money. So what I'm saying by that is, you go to your institution of higher learning to put yourself in position, whether you go to the league or not, you still get your money.
Get your money. That's right. That's what we do. Because we're going to go pro in something.
Right. And it's either entrepreneurial, corporate America, whatever it may be. Yes. You still want to get your paper, but you're talking money, and you can get that either way.
Either way. Well, let me give you a story. I'm not going to try to dominate this conversation.
Hey, no, this is what we got it for, man.
We have a preacher on here. I'll dominate, so I'm not going to dominate. So, true story. Had a kid, Kenny Weber, played at, I coached him at Bowie, University of Iowa.
What year at Bowie?
2003, 2004, okay. After you. So, he is on Mel Kiper's board, big board, number 9. Not 9 DN, number 9. Like 1, 2, 3, 9. I called and said, baby, we number 9. We get ready to get paid. Woo, we good. He said, Coach, I'm not coming out. I said, whoa. He said, Coach, all I can do every day is hear you when you talk about if we there, we're going to get our degree. I said, first of all, Coach Chris overstepped. I said, remember, the goal is, I said, you're number 9. You can get millions. You can go back and get that degree anytime. I said, you can buy, you can buy one, right? Yeah. He go like, Coach, no, I hear your voice every day. I hear it. No, I'm not.
Hear my voice now.
I said, well, first of all, Coach is telling you to enter the draft. You're number 9. You might fall to 12. So what if you fall to 20? Dude, we're talking about millions. So I go on. He stays. He comes back. He Goes the next round. Next year, he gets goes in the 4th round to the Arizona Cardinals. He goes and plays in the Super Bowl as a rookie. Then he gets a mass on his heart. So they had to rush him out of practice. He's like, I'm not going out of practice. I got to do this. So he takes him out. He has a mass. He gets the Ed Block Courage Award. He comes in. He can't play. He said, Coach, now I can play life like you said. Because now I have my degree. I went to the league. I have my money. And now I'm good. I don't have to go back to school because my career got cut short. And so when I said that, that just did me good because there's a kid that just goes to show when you think they're not listening, that they're really listening.
Yes, sir.
Some of them are.
Yes,
so
sir.
so that's one of the deals that I've always been in. And them guys, they still on my phone to this day. It's funny. Ty Seke, who just signed with the Dallas Cowboys, big tackle with the Bills. I coached him. I said him and Kenny together one day, like side by side. They said, you two going to the NFL. I don't throw that around. I said, I don't miss on that. You two are going to the NFL. Ty Bills, Kenny, Arizona. It is the whole thing. They said, Coach, how did you know? I said, because I could kind of tell you just your demeanor and your talent, what you could do. But both of them always speak to when they come back and talk to our kids. Because they ain't Sam Houston, but they still come back. They said, hey, Coach was on us the whole time. And the most proudest thing I have that they have their degrees. Because they saw it through and they understood that I was talking to them about what can happen. I always talk like this. If things go right, that's wonderful. We got it. But what happens when things go wrong?
Yes, sir.
So we got to be able to handle when things go wrong. And so I always talk to the kids about when adversity comes. So y'all talk. I'm sorry. I'm doing it.
No, that's good. No.
This is what the show is
Y'all
about.
folks.
Let me ask you this, Silas. Yeah.
Right.
Before I ask Silas a question, hand me that bottle right there, OT. The clear one, please, sir. Visionaries, listeners, viewers, all those who support the podcast, get your hands on a bottle of Class A vodka. The Instagram handle is at Class A Vodka. That's Class A with a K. Crystal and Tim, thank you guys for all of your support. We appreciate it. We couldn't do this without you. Visionaries, we promise this. We stand on it for a reason. Grapes and artesian water, and it will change your life. Class A vodka. Make sure you get your hands on a bottle.
Hey, real quick on that, I bought a different bottle of vodka just because I've been on Class A for so long. I wanted to see.
Because we roll with them.
Yeah, and I wanted to see, like, is this a figment of my imagination? I had it. Can't do it. So, again, big shout out to Class A. It is a game changer. Make sure you guys get a hold of it.
Silas, you got a kid who's currently in the mix.
Yes, sir.
And you got experience as a college athlete. What have you explained to him as he gets prepped to make that transition in regards
That's
to
actually
like,
exactly where I was going.
like it's gonna. So when you leave here,
Right.
it is different.
Yeah.
And the last part to that, answer his question first, but the last part is, does he get it?
Yes.
Ooh.
I'm gonna answer your part first. No. The first part of the question is, I tell him, don't fall in love with the coach, because you gotta love that school. Because these coaches find a new job, they're currently looking for a new job, whether it's NFL, whether it's leaving the coaching profession or going to a better school. I tell him, he FaceTimes with one school from up north every single day. Man, don't fall in love with that coach, because that coach might be gone. Because that happened for me. I went to Southeastern Oklahoma, the greatest school in America. Got recruited by my recruiting coordinator. The next semester, he was gone. He coached us my freshman year, and he was gone. And so I always tell him, like, man, don't fall in love with that coach. He could be gone. You got to make sure that school is the right place for you. You guys asked me earlier, one, why don't he want to do any camps? Two, where does he want to go? He knows where he wants to go because he's fallen in love with that coach. You're trying to wean him off.
I'm trying to wean him off of it. I'm saying, hey, we need to go take a look at the city. We need to go make sure it's a good fit for you. My kid's not a party kid, so if it's party central, it's not going to be a good fit for him. He's going to be a hermit in his apartment, So I tell him, let's go take a look at all these different cities. We got about 4 already set up. We might go ahead and use a 5th one in July. But it's getting exciting. It's getting exciting. A lot of people want him, and a lot of people love him.
While we have you on the show, what questions should parents? And you're well versed in all this, right?
You've been boots on the ground since day one, since before Sean probably, before he even entered into recruiting.
Yeah.
What are the type of questions parents should be asking, and what type of roadmap should they be looking at?
I'm gonna answer the second part first. That's easier for me. The roadmap, like Coach said, is social media. Instagram, a little bit, kind of Snapchat, not Facebook at all. It's all about Twitter. I do not let my kid post anything personal on Twitter. I don't care if you're out at the boat at Lake Louisville. I don't care if you took a trip to Paris. It ain't going on Twitter. It's about football recruiting. That's it. Somebody sent you an edit, post it on Twitter.
And why is that?
Because that's what the college coaches do all their recruiting.
They want to see that you're 100% devoted.
No, it's not that they want to see you're 100% devoted. That's all they're looking for.
Yeah.
And if you post something bad on there, you got all your girls in the background, like my man from the NBA did the other day.
Hey, Monica, come through.
Come on, that is a strike against you.
Hold on, why did they throw Rachel into the mix?
Oh man. I couldn't believe he did it. Like, somebody texted me, it was like, man, wait till you see what he's doing on Twitter. And I was like, all right, whatever. Then I saw it, and literally the part of, hey, Monica, come through. Like, one of my teammates called me. He works in the financial sector. He said, "Lo, I'm starting every Zoom meeting this week. Hey, Monica, come through."
Hey, PP, you got an open invite. Come on.
Yeah, come on the show anytime you want to.
So social media is extremely important. Kids lose $1 million scholarships because of their social media. They don't understand it, and we can't expect them to understand it. Think about us growing up. What was a big thing? Recording fights and putting them on and put them on VHS and trying to sell them. You know, kid. I know you saw that in Arlington. The kid. I think he served time for that when we graduated. So
I'm gonna disagree, Silas. I think they do understand it. They just don't have the discipline.
They don't understand the repercussions.
That's what it is.
And the consequences.
They don't understand how important it is. So I let him have his Instagram. We have it on private. I let him have a Snapchat. That's extremely private. But I always remind him, hey man, somebody can get your Snapchat, have their phone out, and take another phone and record everything that you put on there. So you can't put nothing stupid on there. There's been many times, hey Sean, take that off your Snapchat. But it's just not. Take it off, bro, because if somebody gets a hold of that and it's on the internet,
it hinder you forever.
Do you think that you have an advantage because
I do.
You're younger and you get it?
I have two different advantages. I'm young. I had my kid when I was 19. Me and my kid are 19 years apart, around 20ish, depending on the month. So I understand. We listen to the same music, in a year from now, we're probably going to the same clubs,
You're going to a club in a year from now?
I'm just saying.
Man, Sal said he was young now.
You put it in perspective.
I know who to ask about that.
So, that's one thing. I am young and I get a lot more things. Two, my biggest advantage on how I try to help other kids and help other parents, I used to be in media. I spent 7 years in Dallas media. I got a degree in broadcast communications. Mm-hmm. I can't spell worth of nothing, but I know how to get you promoted. Mm-hmm. I know if you look at my kids' Twitter, it's like TMZ. We trying to stay relevant. Because if you don't stay relevant, somebody else going to get that offer. Or that one day when the University of so-and-so is on Twitter, they see, this is the best tight end in the nation. Okay, I'm going to follow him and not see my kid. Every single day, we posting something. If it's not every single day, it's every other day. I got a little nephew out of North McKinney, trying to get him in the same mindset. I'm like, look, man, I know you didn't do nothing but work out, but you better record yourself benching 220 pounds. You better record yourself weighing in at 230, 6'5" as a freshman. Post it on Twitter. That 10 states can change your life. Now he got the entire University of Texas staff looking at him. They follow him on Twitter. There's not a lot of freshmen that can say that.
Now let me ask you this, and I'm glad you mentioned that. For parents that take the step, that listen to what you just said. Okay, Johnny, we're gonna take over your social media. When Big Five universities are following you, are they? Is it that person or is it their media staff? Like and I'm not talking about I won't say any school specifically, but is Ryan Cuffey University, Big Five school, right? Is he really following you, or is it just whoever handles their social media?
So back to the part to where my kid wasn't ranked until a couple of months ago because of his situation. I think the majority of Power 5 coaches, their media people take care of their Twitter. until it's time to introduce ourselves to that kid. So as freshmen, the 25s, the 24s, yeah, we'll start following them. Yeah, we'll start, maybe liking a comment, or maybe they can't technically talk to them. Phone
Can they
calls.
tweet at them?
They can't tweet at them.
That's a rule.
I'm gonna stay away from that one. That it's more of, if I got like my little nephew, everybody likes him. He's probably gonna be one of the best defense ends in the nation. People are hitting him up, and they might go to his trainer and say, "Hey, make sure Zion calls me tomorrow, or make sure he calls me at 5:00." So NCAA rules, he can call you, but you can't call him.
Right.
And that don't change until the September 1st of the junior year. But everybody gets around it.
South, in football, who is the gatekeeper of the number of stars?
Oh, the stars? 24/7, Rivals, ESPN tries to do it, but they do a terrible job of ranking kids. They only try to rank around 300 kids in the whole nation, and they just copycat off of everybody else instead of doing their research. Because you'll have 24/7 who'll have a kid, 100, and Rivals might have that kid at 150, and they might leave the kid off the list because they just don't know what they're doing.
In Texas, what about Dave Campbell?
Dave Campbell doesn't really do rankings. They'll put a few things out.
That's so different.
It is.
From 20 years ago.
Dave
Everybody
Campbell,
look for the Dave Campbell book coming out.
You have to look at Dave Campbell and shout out
Dave Campbell's are.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. And shout out to Dave Campbell. I love him to death. I was in their book twice. They got my kid in there twice. I'm hoping he'll make all state this year. But Dave Campbell is more of a media outlet. Like they're not a 24/7. 24/7 is all about rankings. Dave Campbell is more like WFAA now. They're more like a Channel 8. They're just a media outlet. They try to help the kids, but they don't have the same type of firepower that 24/7 has.
They didn't evolve.
I'm not even gonna go there because
that's what
I don't think
they got passed in the market.
I don't think they were ever on that level because they were never national.
They're
they
not
were only
recruiting.
Texas.
They don't do recruiting.
Right.
See, they have the Texas top 300.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. But like I said, they don't need to be because the kids don't pick up the book.
Mm-hmm.
So now all
It's
they do
us who
is
pick up the book.
the coaches, like, even to this day, like right now, June 12th, we're going to go break our neck to get Dave Campbell.
Right.
The kids are like,
Who is that?
we used to go get it when I was, I'm way older than y'all. But back when I played back in the late 70s, early 80s, is that we wanted to go flip through, find out where we're going to find out. The coach put me in there.
Right.
Oh, I'm in Dave Campbell.
Come on.
It is just my name. It ain't had nothing about, no order, nothing written by Anthony Chris. It was just, I'm in Dave Campbell. Got that Dave Campbell.
Still relevant?
No.
Who's that?
Like,
I don't remember that.
So Vipe they never got to the Dave Campbell level.
VYPE?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
They never got to the Dave Campbell level, but they're just still another media outlet. There's plenty of media outlets, but if you want to go talk to University of Minnesota and you want them to know who you are, you better have some stars by your name at 24/7. Now, what happened was when we were coming up, it was Rivals. Rivals evolved. They stayed relevant. 24/7 kind of jumped on their back and now they're on the same level. So you can be a 3-star over here, you can be a 4-star over here. Everybody's still gonna like you, but they're not going. Texas is not going to Dave Campbell's magazine and be like, "Oh, this is the number 1 cornerback that Dave Campbell says it is. Okay, I'm gonna recruit him now." They go to Rivals.
I'll get to what's different about baseball here in a minute, but I want to ask you, what venues or avenues do you have to go through in order for them to rank you?
Yes.
Twitter. So you got to have your huddle on Twitter. You got to
explain what Huddle is for anybody
okay.
that's watching.
Huddle
this.
is basically YouTube for high school players to put their highlight film on, and your high school coach is in charge of the Huddle account. They upload game film, and you can make a highlight film off of there, and then you could copy and paste that link and send it out to people. You can text it, you can email it, do everything you want. It's just the hub. They've done a great job of making it easy for anybody to make a highlight film and showcase your talents.
So they aren't really. There's not a resource that's actually watching the entire game. Is 7-on-7 a factor?
7-on-7 is a big factor. I'm gonna let Coach talk about 7-on-7, then I'm gonna talk about it because I
you don't want
to
me
see
talking
his
about
mind.
7-on-7.
So I have a question, a historical question.
Have me talking about
that
7.
you
I'm on
can answer
TV
for
too
us.
in pocket. No.
Hey, so Coach, tell us, when did 7-on-7 pop? Because when I was in middle school, junior high, I don't remember
current
7-on-7.
The current 707. Well, 707 was around when you were.
No, I know, because we went to
high
UNT and we traveled a little bit, but not. I mean, it's.
See, 707 has evolved over the last 5 years. Before 707 was when we were doing it at ODY. It was a way to, hey, we got to get in there, throw the kids, DBs. We go, we get, then they came up with the 707 state tournament, 707 national tournament. You pay $300, you go, you can't coach your kids. And then all of a sudden, you go up there, you play these tournaments, you go to state, College Station. The last 7 years, for the lack of a better word, I shouldn't even say it this way, but the street agents have gotten involved.
Yes.
So now it becomes.
It's like AAU basketball.
I was just about to say that.
It's AAU basketball. Now you got kids who get on these what they call traveling teams.
Man.
So here's the difference: is that Salas is the 707 coach. Well, Salas has put together this squad of 12 guys. But guess where we're going? We're going to play in Florida. Hey, but Mama, when we go to Florida, guess what we're going to do? We're going to go to Gainesville. We're going to go to Florida State.
Come on.
We're going to go to Miami. We're going to go to Central Florida. We're going to go to South Florida. Okay, on our way back, when we get back, oh, by the way, since we're traveling that way, we will stop by LSU. Or we will stop by Alabama. Or we will stop. So what they can do that the high school coach can't do, they could take those kids and get them exposed to those colleges. Now, this was tough for us, the high school coach. We can't take them. Right. We want them to so-called touch the ball. And I can't fight them going because
it's good for them.
They're going to go. It's good for them. Because at the end of the day, I don't care what the 7-on-7 coach does. At the end of the day, they still got to come to the school to get it.
Yep.
So you'll get.
But does it diminish you as a coach, not necessarily as a head coach, but like you as a coach of the school that they attend? So,
no, because at the same time, what happens is at the end of the day, they still got to come to the school to get the transcript, and they still got to come to the school to recruit you. You want your kid to get what I call maximum exposures. You want them going around. Main thing, we want them to touch the ball. That's why AAU basketball is so prominent. You want them playing. They got to play.
Yep.
Okay, baseball. You can't play baseball in the season no more.
Nope.
You better play baseball year round. Am I right, OT?
Absolutely.
You better play baseball year round.
Now, I got a whole subject to discuss about that too.
Yeah, you
Go
better
ahead.
play it. Because at the days of, okay, I can just go in and out, it's fine. But the real dudes are going to play. So if I find a kid that's a baseball player, I take him out of football. You have a shot. And son, for you to have a shot, you got to play over 100 games. Yeah. We played 35 in high school, 40 maybe, 40. You got to get 120 more games. When I was in high school, I would play high school game. The next day, we go play, back then, Pony League, Little League. But we played baseball almost every day when I was coming up. There was no big deal. Friday, play, guess what, Saturday morning, put on another uniform, we play. And so it's one of those deals with the 7-on-7 is they're taking it to a new level. Sunday, just go drive out on a Sunday.
Come on.
You're going to see the kid with the little funny looking helmets on
we
all over the place.
Like, hey, I'm at a 7 on the
Sunday. 7-on-7, yes.
Now to add to Coach's thing and why he even hates it even more is because at the big time 7-on-7s, the pylons, the championship 7v7s.
I wasn't gonna call them names. Yeah. Stig did it. I
can represent them. I love them, man. They've helped my child because he's a great 7-on-7 player. But the thing that helps them, and back to your point, OT, the media is at the 7-on-7 tournaments. They're recording the Sean Salases. They're recording the Evan Stewarts.
They're tweeting.
They are tweeting. Hey, I just got to speak to the University of Texas commit. I just got to speak to the kid who got the offer from Minnesota. And now you wonder why this kid has those stars. Oh, he balled out at the pylon tournament. Why does this kid get ranked higher than this kid? Oh, he balled out in Michigan at some 7-on-7 tournament.
Here's my question, and I'm glad you said it this way. How does the media benefit from that?
It's the same way these gentlemen do. They are the media. They have sponsors. With the 24/7, I'm a parent. I have 4 or 5 accounts that I have to pay almost between $1 and $10 a month just to be able to look at the articles they put Sean in. And so every month I get $10 out of your account. $1 out of this account. 24/7 Texas Ags. All these every single school has Rivals and 24/7. So I don't think we're their money makers. They still make money off of advertising, but it's driving the traffic. That's why I say Twitter is just like TMZ. It's like my kid needs to be on Twitter every single day. Oh, there's Sean Salas again. I'm tired of seeing Sean Salas. But hey, you know what? He is a good player, you know. And you have to stay relevant. And you go a few months without having anything, or you don't tweet anything, people are like, oh, he must not be playing no more. Or, oh, he must not have had a great season. But they don't realize you just not on Twitter. That's why I always tell kids, like, it's been a fight for me at Creekview High School for 3 years, trying to explain to my kid's son, my kids' friends, that Twitter is the most important part of their social media. Of course, Snapchat has taken over the world. Everybody wants to do Snapchat. You know, the president wanted to cancel Snapchat. It was so crazy. You know, Instagram is crazy because the kids can do the videos and all that good stuff. If you want to get recruited in football, I know it's different in baseball and basketball, but in football, which is the biggest sport in the United States, you got to be on Twitter, and you got to be prominent on Twitter.
It's not necessarily different.
Okay.
No. So let me bring a little bit of the baseball context into it. There are 3, maybe 4 major institutes with regard to baseball. Area code is probably number 1 because MLB, Major League Baseball, is most involved with area code.
Okay.
You have to get endorsed typically by an MLB representative in order for your kid to participate in area code. Then there's Perfect Game. Everybody's heard of Perfect Game. There is Prep Baseball Report, and then there's 5-Tool. Those are basically the main entities from a baseball perspective. And the reason why I asked you that question about where does the media benefit, in order for your son to gain any kind of ranking in any of those, you have to pay to go to their showcases.
Right.
And once you go to enough of their showcases and display enough of the 5 tools, hit for average, hit for power, arm strength, miles per hour, speed, all of those things, then they rank you. And every one of those systems have a different ranking because kids go to different of those different entities, and if you don't spend enough time in one versus another, you could be ranked number 2 over here and number 200 over here. Wow. It all depends on which one you pay to go to the most to showcase your ability.
Sounds conspiratorial.
It sounds like politics, like the recruiting of high school football.
I'm sitting here listening to all this, and our show is, it's about having the growth mindset.
Yes, sir.
And I asked you earlier in regards to how you try to relate things to your son, but now I'm thinking bigger picture as a coach, father, son, so all that, because you're raising men, right? Like at a certain point as a man, there's going to be a certain part of adversity, or a certain part, like you said earlier, you're going to realize, like, you know what, I'm not the biggest dog on the block. From your perspective, how have you tried to convey to him, because I think you said earlier, like, he didn't quite get it yet. How do you convey to him, like son, the atmosphere, like the air pressure is about to change?
Okay, I'll give you a great example. So what we did with my child is freshman, sophomore year, he was on basically a mom and pop 7-on-7 team. Some of the best kids in the area, but we didn't get a chance to go to the Atlantas, go to the Las Vegas tournaments, like really have that firepower underneath us, like we were like the best team in the nation. We had some very good players, quarterback out of Lancaster, kids out of Hebron High School in Carrollton, Texas. Like, we had some great talent, but we didn't have that AAU select really behind us. It was just a mom and pop team. We practiced a few times. We go out and ball, do really good. This year, I made it a emphasis that, man, we got to try to be on the best 7-on-7 team in the nation. And we got that. We had that option, first of all, because of the people we work with, and he had the talent to do it. So we put him on Team Texas Flex, and on Texas Flex, quarterback is committed to Florida. Probably the number 1 wide receiver in the nation, 5-star kid, is on that team. And so what that did for my kid is, like you say, he's the best kid at Creekview. He's the best kid maybe in Carrollton. Now you're on a team with the best kids in the nation, and you're either going to rise up or you're going to sit back and just chill. And one of the great things about Sean Salas is, and that's my child, is he rises to pressure in games. And so you put him out there against the best cornerback in the nation. He don't care what you can do. He knows what he can do. He knows he can jump higher than you. And so now you put him on a team with some of the best players in the nation, and he rises to the talent. And so that's one thing that we focus on, and that's that dog mentality that we talked about and how he's going to flip that switch is once he's in that environment, he can do that. It wasn't always like that at his high school because we're a lower-level high school. We get a lot of kids transferring to bigger schools. And so in a triple option team, he got 35 receptions, which is a whole lot, meaning we didn't throw the ball for 2 of those games.
And how many touchdowns?
He had 10 touchdowns for the year.
So for every 3 catches, he's scoring.
I never thought about that ratio, but that's a fantastic.
Now
But
let
it
me.
still runs a triple option.
In 2021 in Texas.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah.
No, but
I see where
mean,
you're
it's-
coming from.
But here's the deal: this is not a knock on your son's high school.
So-
What we're talking about is how kids,
You do?
or excuse me, how parents.
Well, say, wait a minute.
We're talking about how parents that may have to encounter or deal with different challenges, right? Like, we don't know if this is going to be seen and heard from somebody in Pennsylvania, or somebody in Iowa, or somebody in Montana, or somebody in Florida. Your kid may not fit that school's offense, right? So here's what you've done to take the ball, or take the bull by the horns,
Right.
and figure out, hey, listen, this is where we live.
Right.
My son goes here.
Right.
I'm not going to allow another individual to stop my son or daughter success, right? This is not a knock on your son's high school.
Right.
I'm just stating facts.
I got you. So one thing we did was, they gave him the ball. He made great touchdowns. Like I said, I am the ruler of his recruiting. We've signed up with this recruiting service. We've got with this trainer, make sure they help out with the recruiting, and they have a lot more firepower than I do. But we want to make sure that he's seen, and he doesn't always get seen in a triple option offense. We had to make sure that every little thing that he did was on another level. We had to make sure that we put him on that good 7-on-7 team because in his offense, he doesn't really have to run routes. He has to basically get open when they're faking a handoff, throw it to him and see how fast he can run. So now on the best 7-on-7 team in the nation, Texas Flex, once again, now he gets to go run routes. Now he gets to work with a quarterback who's standing back there looking to see where he's at. And so we really have to highlight that over the spring. And, you can check some of the Pylon websites and then some of their YouTubes. He had a catch that basically went viral where he jumped over a guy and stood over him. And
Go ahead and drop his social media handle.
his social media at Twitter is at Sean Salas 10. Sean is SEAN. Salas is SALLIS, and then the number 10, so 10. But because he didn't get to be in a spread offense. We had to take the 7-on-7 to another level. The way some kids do when they go play for the big AAU basketball teams. It's like, hey, I might not get to showcase this at high school, but at this AAU tournament, I get to shoot 30 times, shoot 33s, So the 7-on-7 helped extremely well. His coach, Coach O, for the 7-on-7 team, their recruiting is amazing. They have put him on a platform that is his high school couldn't have did that unless he was at like a Den Ryan or a Duncanville. Like his recruiting coordinator. Or Sam Houston. His recruiting coordinator, his recruiting coordinator, his 7-on-7 team has elevated him to places his high school couldn't do it. Now, luckily, to clean it up even more, the ISD decided to go another route, and they did hire a new head coach. We got a new head coach out of Ennis. He's going to be running the triple option. So, I'm going to put this on record. My goal is for my kid to lead the nation in receiver next year.
Whoa, hold on. You said he's going to be running the triple option?
I'm sorry. Did I say triple option? I said spread. They'll be running the spread.
I was about to say.
I'm sorry. They'll be running the spread 5 wide. Quarterback will be standing up the whole time, and like I said, my goal is for my kid to lead the nation in receiving. We play a bunch of your Fort Worth schools, the ODYs, the Polytechs, and
you're in the Fort Worth district.
He's probably the best athlete that'll be in that district by far.
So now let me to you, because he has to prep his kid. You deal with parents.
Yeah.
How do you prep the parents for what they are about to embark on? Because it's one thing, like you said, at some point, son, you're gonna wake up at 4:30 one morning, and it's just gonna be you by yourself. But how do you prep the parents for not only necessarily the quote unquote recruiting process, but for when, like, this is what your son is entering into? Because especially if he's first generation, who's never been to college or never seen that high level of athletic competition, how do you prep the parents?
And can I double down on that before you answer? How do you prep the parents? It's a great question. And if the kid isn't the next level ready.
Do we edit the show? Okay, here's how I prep parents with other parents. So if Salas was one of my parents, and his kid has now gone off, I would have this connection with Steve and say, okay, Steve, you always gonna be in my Rolodex, so because it's getting ready to happen. So I tell my parents, okay, so you don't think this is just Coach Chris talking, I need you to call Salas. And so Salas, because he's going to give them the real, like, okay, this is what we thought, and this is what happened when our kid went there. This is what happened in year 2. So you can expect this. So almost all my kids' parents talk to another parent. My wife is a great resource because she had 3 boys go off and get scholarships. My wife was that diva. She was that I'm going to be recruited. You go recruit me too, along with my son. Mm-hmm. And so I have them, and she'll call and she'll tell them, like, hey, look, you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared for your son not playing. My son was all that. We went to all these camps, and, they fall in love with Dominique Chris. Then, so what she tell them about how she had to handle with he wasn't that star player on the field, how she had to handle going to a game and he don't get in. And so she talks to that point about this is what it's going to look like on this side of recruiting. You're going to love it. You're going to love the phone calls. You're going to love the letters. You're going to love everything. You're going to love how they fall over you. See, my child was fortunate enough to be like the #1 recruit. So she got to do that. So now she comes back and say, hey, this is what it's going to be like. Then I go all the way back to the 90s. I go back into 2000, 2010. Even now, one of my parents came to see me yesterday. She was telling me, hey, Coach Chris, thank you so much for how you prepared us. And now they're giving it to the next set of parents. So I let the parents, I have a parent entourage, to say, okay, here's parent to parent. Because now you can ask the mama, daddy question. It's not coach trying to, no. You talk to their parent who went through that. I talk to parents at other schools that I've helped them and say, okay, this kid right now, I got a kid going to San Diego State. Well, I had a mom whose kid is already out there, his 3rd year. She talked to, and her talk convinced this kid to commit to the mama. So then I had those 2 moms. She said, give your mom my number. And she told them, hey, let me tell you about what goes on grade-wise. Let me tell you about they don't have any time. Let me tell you you're not going to have all that kind of stuff. So what I try to do is educate the parent. Now, this is what I do to answer your other question. Okay, you say he's not the next level. He's not the one.
Well, he's getting. I think what Cuff is saying is, yeah, he's getting recruited, but because you deal with him, he's not mentally.
He's saying, what about the ones who think their kid is all that, and they not?
That's a hard.
So
that's why I said,
so here's what I do.
It's real.
It's real, and it happens.
Exactly.
But see, you
Every
have to be
coach
able
deals
to.
with this.
You got to be able to hit it head on. Most coaches are afraid to hit it head on. So I do this. When I was assistant athletic director, I used to go do a recruiting speech. I used to do a recruiting seminar. And I used to say, how many kids want to play college football? And parents, you're in here too. Everybody hand go up. I said, it's funny that you're from Montana State. And I said, so, how many people want to go? You went to Montana State. I said, so,
from Duncanville.
Yeah, you're from Duncanville, 93. City of Champions. So, there you go. So then I would say, who wants to go to Montana? No hands go up. I said, wait a minute. It's not a trick question. I just said, who wants to play college football? Your hand went up. If I can get you to Montana State, who's going to take it? So you don't want to play college football. So that's the thing. So what I tell the parents is this. My job is maximum exposure. I'm going to tell you where to go, what camp, what to go to, where to show up. You may choose, you may not. I put it on the board. I said, I invested $5,000 in my child. His scholarship available was $250,000. So I won $250,000. Invest in your kid.
Yeah.
I said, now, let me help you. You got to be able to take this truth serum. Your kid is 5'3", runs 4'9".
Jesus.
There's not a college in America that I can get that kid in. Okay? I can't do it. So what you got to understand is this. I said, and I do mamas like this. I said, did you go to the prom when you was in high school? They said, yeah, coach. I said, and how did that happen? He said, well, my date asked me. Bingo. This is a prom. Your son needs a date. Someone has to ask him. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put him in the best dress, put him in the best clothes, with the best makeup. Somebody still.
Best suit.
Yeah. Well, I usually when I'm talking to the mama. Yeah. I mean, I'm talking to the moms. You know, I'm hitting them from the deal. And somebody to come ask her. And the reason I do it that way because girls use, well, these days they do. But usually don't ask the guys to the prom. But that's how I do it.
Yeah.
I said, okay, now it's the same thing. I said, here's what's difficult. I've changed my thought on this. I said, I used to be, your word is your bond. I say your word is not your bond in recruiting. It's not. Because it's verbal, it's just a commitment. It's non-binding. Just like that coach can change, you can change. You have to do what's best for your kid. So when you do what's best for your kid, you got to make the best decision. Hey, you might start out with Wisconsin, but is Wisconsin the best for your kid?
You know that's where I started.
You can't do it, you know. So you got to go what becomes best. I've had kids change. And I said, look, we won't have no problem changing. Because I see coaches pull all the time. I see coaches do what's best for them. So you got to do what's best for you.
Yes, sir.
So you can do that. And so that's how I prep my parents. Have a parent meeting. We talk about recruiting. We talk about what's going to happen.
Is that recruiting meeting open to all student athlete parents or just your?
No, anybody at school. Hey, we're going to talk about recruiting because we talk about it in every facet.
So it's up to the parent to at least take the first step.
Yes. They have to, because see, this is where it's changed. Salas is right. See, I want him to get him to speak to this, but this will take another 4 hours. See, we talk about recruiting on Twitter. See, what we haven't talked about is there are recruiting analysts that are on Twitter. Those guys are the rock stars in recruiting. Coach O not only does 7-on-7, Coach O recruiter. Trust my eyes. Because see, every college coach follows Coach O. They follow Damon Sales. They follow Gabe Brooks. Those are the guys, Justin Reed. They follow those guys. So guess what? Because guess what they're doing? They're posting. They're posting. And then you know what they're saying? Hey, Sean Salas today was a beast. 5 catches, 5 touchdowns, and he scored on the number 4 4-star recruit corner or safety in the country. Boom, 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 boom.
Man.
Guess what it is?
Twitter lighting up.
So those guys are. So guess what happens? And he's modest. He ain't told you this part. This how it really goes. Oh, they're Salas' daddy. So they go over there. Mr. Salas, what is he thinking? But right now, you know, TCU, SMU, U of H, and not yet on A&M, but we're close. Boom, boom, boom. They write for all these universities. Hey, what happened? I talked to Mr. Salas today.
Man.
He said this. Wait a minute. So the head coach now goes in and says, hey, why we on the Salas kid? That recruiting person gets called in, and guess what? Phone call happens the next day.
Man.
Generally to the head coach. So now what we have to do, we have to partner with those guys. So when I go to the showcase, like, I know his son is tired of camps and showcases. But I'm always going, we got to go. We got to see. Because guess what? We're trying to be better. Yeah, we got 11. Can I get 50?
And here's the thing. The work ain't begun yet.
No.
The work has not begun yet.
So it's good. Now, I always say this too. The reason that you have to keep going is because what if Coach Salas is doing a great job at Ryan Cuffey University. But at OT University, he said, hey, you my guy.
Ooh.
I got you in there. I'm the athletic director. Hey, you making $1.7 million. Dude, I got a Boots Club stuff over here. I can give you $8 million. He going there.
Yes, sir.
And so now he goes, and when he goes, it's like, well, wait a minute. Well, I don't see that guy every day no more. That love, oh, what I got now? Well, wait a minute. I wanted. Then the next guy come and say, you know what? When I was at Ryan University, you didn't give me the time of day.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm the head coach at this university. So,
Better know where to put your chips behind.
well, that's why you have to always go in and say, look, I always tell this. If you don't like acting, you better start liking acting. Let's win an Oscar, baby. We're going to go out there. Now, I know you don't want to do it today, baby. I know you don't want to go out there. But guess what? We're going to get the performance of a lifetime. We're going to go out here today. We're going to step. Because here's the thing about it. Oh, you going to work out today? No, sir. You know, Coach, I'm real sore. All they wanted is, he's pretty. They call it the eyeball test.
Yep.
So they looked at, he passed the eyeball test. He ain't got to run. He ain't got to jump.
Boy.
Because guess what you do now? It's a little thing called athletic.net, a mile split.
Come on.
Oh, wait a minute.
Check
wait
it
a minute.
400 times.
He had regionals? They ain't got to check the time. He had regionals in Texas.
Come on.
Bona fide fast.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about that, and it shocked me. I remember at Martin High School, Arlington Martin High School, the coach that recruited me, Bill Maskell, who used to be the coach at Midwestern State, still there, says to me in person, this isn't on the phone, oh, you got a good ass on you, meaning you can run. I can tell you can run. So all the measurables, you don't have to participate in the turn or in the 7-on-7 classic or tournament or whatever. I just need to lay eyes on you because I need to go back and verify with my head coach. Like, hey, this kid, he's every bit of 6'5". Or you know what? He actually might be 6'7". He grew. You know, he's long, he's lanky, he's thick, whatever. You know, so it's interesting.
He has skinny ankles.
They look at that because guess what? You can move.
Thick ankles not really recruited.
Yeah.
He's got skinny ankles.
Before you go on, it sounded like you was going to go on.
He got long arms.
Before you go on, I want to ask Coach another question. He's going to get on a rant about this.
No.
And
I'm coming down.
I need you to explain to the people because this is going to take us in another way. And I had this problem in the beginning for sure. What do you do about parents who want their kids to get recruited but don't have a Coach Chris running a program and don't have the connection? Hey, call Miss Johnson because she know about going to University of Texas. What do you do about the kid who's at so-and-so high school in so-and-so small town Texas trying to get recruited and they don't have a resource like you and their high school coach don't care if they go to Southeastern Texas or JCC Junior College? What does that kid do? How do they prepare for the recruiting game?
I always tell, it's your network. It's like anything else. It's like on your social media. Okay, what do you have? You have a following. Okay, I tell parents now, it's not an excuse anymore.
Yes,
true. The internet is a wonderful thing when it comes to recruiting. Okay, case in point, Coach, and I get it all the time. I help kids from all over. Ryan Cuffey, you know, I helped him get in school. I'll tell him the story one day. What really happened? Why Billy Masker really got over there. But I'll tell him one day.
I don't doubt it. I know, A-Mac.
Yeah. So I know. I tell him, but what I tell him is, look, there's no excuse because you know if you're involved. That the better question is, what do you do when a parent's not involved?
That's where I was actually going to go.
That's the better question. What happens when a parent is not involved? They work in 2 jobs. They don't have a clue. They can't do it. What I always say is, partner with somebody who does. And because at the same time, there is somebody out there who knows.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very rare that a kid goes through an athletic life and he don't know somebody that knows something about recruiting. Right. Either the Little League coach, the Pop Warner coach, the junior high coach. There's somebody who took an interest in the kid who knows, or you know somebody who knows somebody. I can't tell how many times my phone rings from kids who I don't even coach.
Right.
Yep.
You know, because you know what they'll say? Hey, call Coach Chris.
But I know the position that you're in and the position that you held, and I do understand. And this is empathetic, but it's also not going to let parents off the hook for being a parent to their child. You may have 2 or 3 jobs, but you can find time for Johnny to make his way into somebody's school. And to your point, if you don't have the time, make sure you're partnering with somebody that has a connections.
Yeah, you have to, because I've seen it where I've seen parents, and I know it's hard to believe, who really didn't have the time. Here's the sad part. It's when it's the parent who doesn't care. See, that's the hard part. Because when you have a kid who's super talented, and the parent, y'all not going to believe this, have never seen the kid play. And so what you saying to them is that, okay, look, your kid is talented. Your kid, well, I've never seen it. He likes that. Or
No idea.
2021, that's still going on.
Oh, yes. Yes. So you have this spectrum of Salas who's all on board and trying to get it done, whereas I can tell you this. This is a whole nother show. I have to come back in August, though, when y'all do this show. So he can tell you right now, he's probably been super frustrated with grown-ups who don't get it. Like, wait a minute, man. Some people think he's overboard. So it's like, no, this is what it takes. So they don't understand. Well, my son ain't got to do this. He ain't what it takes. So it's very frustrating. It's a delicate balance. And here's the thing that I've learned over the years. You can't help everybody. You try. And you try to help them all, but some of them don't want to be helped. You can't help everybody. But the thing about it now, you got more and more. I say this all the time. They're building more high schools. They're not building more colleges.
Man.
So, whereas, okay, you guys are about the same age, with the exception of OT. He's 93.
Yeah.
City champions, Duncanville, Panthers. So, okay, when he was playing high school, all right, McKinney had one school.
Come on.
Frisco had one school.
Come on.
Get closer. Mansfield had one school.
Baldigans.
Yes. But Frisco going on 12 or 13.
Come on.
So guess what? McKinney now has 3 or 4. So Frisco, let's look what happened. Plano, when you was school, Plano East. There was no Plano West. So you think about all these schools who now start to emerge. Okay, there was no Mansfield Summit. There was no Timberview. There was no Legacy. So now you start looking at all these schools, but they ain't building no more colleges. See, y'all had the ability, or what y'all were favored for, is that people recruited the I-20, and guess what? They didn't go up there to Frisco or McKinney and let somebody take, like they had one dude.
Right.
Never heard
now,
of them.
yeah, now they live up there. They got to go. They have to put some more people in Texas. So you had a better shot of going to school because you're in Texas. They wanted, and you was in the Metroplex, and you was on the I-20 corridor. You had a better shot. Well, now it's one of those deals where it's so many kids, there's no more colleges.
Let me ask OT this question, because you just mentioned the I-20 corridor, right? We know, I think all of us know, that based off of your location, i.e. we're in Texas, right? We know that I-20 is going to go from Fort Worth to Dallas, and that you're always going to find top athletes in those 2 cities, right? Does that translate to baseball as well? Do coaches come down and say, hey, I need to look at I-20, I-30?
North.
They go north.
North.
When it comes to baseball, unfortunately, and let me see how I can say this and be politically correct. When it comes to baseball, it is because the other sports are, one, playing year-round now, 7-on-7, AAU basketball, that washes out so many minority kids when it comes to baseball because they want to spend their time with the other sports.
Yep.
And you gestured it, baseball is so expensive. And there isn't the sponsorship opportunities that are out there in the 7-on-7 or in the AAU basketball. That doesn't really happen in baseball. I coach select baseball right now. I've got a group of 14-year-old kids. It costs just to play in the organization about $3,300 for just the spring season. and that's from February to about beginning of June. That's it. That no cost for travel expenses, no cost for gate fees and stuff like that. $3,300 just gives you a roster spot and a uniform. That's it.
And a lot of black mamas don't want to hear that, saying I need to make payments on that in the next couple of months.
To baseball, it's so much easier to go up north in order to find, first of all, a myriad of people that have no problem with that expenses. They're willing to pay it, and a lot of those kids are really baseball centric.
Are we saying, when you say north, you talking McKinney, Frisco, or you talking Oklahoma?
I'm talking
Or north, like New York?
635 north.
Okay.
635 north.
Campbell, Carrollton, the Colony, Allen.
Flower Mound,
Yeah.
Marcus.
Flower
And then
Mound,
too, OT,
Southway.
you can speak to this, is that, once again, I'm way older than y'all, but when I grew up, everybody in my neighborhood had a glove. Everybody had a bat.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, it's like a glove and bat. Speak to the cost of just having a glove and a bat.
Man.
One bat, one glove.
If you want a average caliber baseball glove, it's about $190.
Average.
If you want an average caliber baseball bat, it's about $275.
That's ridiculous.
Yes.
And that's,
It's gonna make
and that's
funny with
real.
that one.
That's real.
So you're almost $600 in, or $400 in.
Select Baseball has outpriced so many kids in being able to play. Now, when it comes to high school, of course they can still play. They'll still go out there and get their cuts in. But I know so many kids in the I-20 corridor that are leaving basketball or football practice to go to baseball practice for a few hours and then go right back to a gym.
That's a hell of an afternoon.
And then go right back to a gym or right back to a field where they're working on their football skills drills. Okay?
It's true.
I have a kid right now, and this is a kid from Argyle. He was just late to our game on Sunday, and I couldn't play him because he showed up late because he was at a 7-on-7 tournament. He's a quarterback for Argyle. 14 years old. He's having to pick whether or not to go do 7-on-7 or play his baseball game.
They're state champions in baseball, correct?
Yes, they are.
Go win it again.
So it's a really difficult dynamic. I was going to speak on it earlier. It's one of the reasons why, especially from a minority perspective, the numbers are where they are. We talk about so many other issues, and I think one of the issues that we want to really pin a lot of the problem on is the next level decision makers, right? That's what we want to do, and I understand that. But really, it's cost and not being able to spend enough time on the diamond because we also want to play multiple sports.
What about the exposure to the diamond?
Oh, more.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because I mean, honestly, we hear it is what it is. It's so aligned with the community, or our community. It's basketball or football.
so like I said earlier, in order for you to get the exposure from a ranking perspective, you have to pay to go to one of those showcases or entities. It already costs enough as it is. So parents don't have the resources or choose not to spend the resources on going to those showcases in order to get the rankings. So 635 North, that has no issue with that.
Right.
It's no problem.
I'll add to that. Sean used to play baseball when he was a freshman, and he tried to play baseball and run track at the same time. And as a freshman, he was on varsity, and as we already talked about, he's made regionals in a 400 and a 4x4 this year. But he can move. He's a big boy. He can move. But when he was a freshman, and we talked to the coaches, we said, hey, is this even possible? Like, oh yeah. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he was not in class because he was at a baseball all-day tournament, January, February. Then track season comes around. He's not in class on Thursday, Friday because he's at a track meet. So he's missing a whole week of school.
But wait, guess what? Then you got spring football.
And 7-on-7.
And 7-on-7
on the weekend.
That's right.
And so a whole week of school, I got teachers emailing me, Sean's missing this. He wasn't here for this test.
Someone got to go.
It wasn't even possible for him to run track and play baseball.
So that's one question I wanted to ask you, Coach. As at least in AISD, historically, your head coach is typically the athletic director for the school.
Yes.
When you have a kid like Salas's son that could be a 4-sport athlete, and you want the kid to get the maximum exposure, that's your creed and motto, right? But yet he's missing so much school because he's putting on for the school, right? Like, how do you navigate those waters?
Well, as Salas was saying, is that notice what he threw in there. He threw in some, and this is where we have our big parting of the ways. He threw in the non-school stuff.
7-on-7 was the only thing.
Yeah, but still,
That's one.
It's a big thing.
it's a big thing though.
But you have to have that to support your school.
Well, not necessarily, because okay, let's just talk. Imaginative person. Okay, he plays football. He runs track. So if he runs 48 quarter. Okay, 48 quarter.
Moving.
And he gets on the bump, and he's coming at 87 with movement. Okay, so now, and he plays football. I say this: you don't need 7-on-7.
But you're
Because
telling,
you got it like that.
but you know what? That same kid is in your off-season program where you're telling everybody, hey, y'all stay involved with 7-on-7 so you can stay sharp over the summer.
No, if you're a dual sport athlete, you're going to go. I'm going to give you, for instance, my quarterback plays center field. Football over, my quarterback went to baseball. So he would play baseball because he's a center fielder and he's a pitcher because the two coincide. He wanted to run track. You need to run track, but you getting on that hill and you center fielder and you doing everything to correlate what we need to do with the football, baseball. So guess what you can't do? You don't do track because now you have another avenue. Now your basketball, football is signed. You signed to deliver. You went D1. Now you can go to the gym because now you can get it all in. But it's something you have to say as a coach. You got to be able to handle the athlete properly because you got to be able to look at his skill set and say, okay, look, you're not helping yourself
Doing this.
because you have his son is 6'6". Okay, so if he was at our school and he's 6'6", okay, I would say, okay, you're 6'6", you're a tight end, okay, and you're running 48 quarter, okay. Do you desire to play Major League Baseball? No. Well, then give it the. You like baseball, you want to play it, but your next level is going to be football, and the track helps you.
I'm going to say this, and I never do this, and Mo will attest to it. I'll give you an out. Okay? Just on the strength of our relationship.
More testing.
You don't give it out.
Do most high school coaches see it that way?
A lot do, but not most. There are some who see it that way.
Because they're looking at it as how can they benefit me August to December.
Yeah, and that's because that's our livelihood.
Exactly.
So it's our livelihood, but at the same time, we got to have the kids' best interest at heart.
You gotta walk that line.
Yeah, so you got to be able to say, okay, all right, and you got to be tough enough to tell the parent and the kid, okay, you're a 4-sport athlete, but how good are you at all 4 of them?
Sports 3 and 4.
Yes, how good are you? Now, there are some exceptional children. They are exceptional, like Jeff Samardzija, Notre Dame wide receiver. People can't believe that Samardzija goes to the league. Well, Jeff goes to the Cubs. He's a pitcher, but he was an outstanding wide receiver. But Charlie Ward, yes, NBA, and he was a 3-sporter, right?
He was a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback.
Yeah, but then he also played baseball. But I'm saying you have those exceptions, and but you know when you see those, you know those too, because everybody going like, okay, he's different. This guy right here is different. So once you know that they're different, and like I say, you're not gonna have 7 of them. you're gonna have one of, and it's generational. That's what they call them, generational talent.
Yeah.
You're gonna have one of them come along every 10, 15 years. So what you try to do is help manage, because sometimes the parent needs the coach to say, okay, coach, this boy right here is football and track, and I know that, but he ain't trying to listen to that. Coach, I need your help. Because what we're gonna do is, because we're gonna kill all our chances off, because we're not really getting good at anything.
You spread too thin.
It's spread too thin. And then when you throw the other stuff in, then here's the main thing that we didn't bring up, that he talked about his teachers. Then your academics start to suffer.
Yep.
And we gotta have that.
Yep.
We gotta have that piece, unless you are just a bad dude in baseball. We don't care if we get drafted. That's it. But that guy gets
You still got to
$300,000
pass.
to $400,000.
You got to pass the play.
Yes. But they're gonna pass. You're gonna do it. Oh, like I said, y'all got me dominating again. I told you I want to sit over
This is
here,
what it's about. It's not about
sit
us.
down, and watch out below smoke.
Before we go to the next phase, because OT's sitting on something, and I know where he's going. Allow me to say thank you to the folks at Dallas Sleep who support us wholeheartedly. The website is DallasSleepLLC.com. The entire Army, their strength in numbers is one of the things that they are big about.
Yes, sir.
Whether it's cigars, entertainment, charitable events, whatever it might be, give it to folks at Dallas Sleep LLC. They will make sure you are taken care of. The Instagram handle is at Dallas Sleep LLC. Go ahead, OT. I know what you're finna say.
So I have a unique story from a personal perspective with myself at Duncanville High School, class of 93, City of Champions. I actually played for the #1 ranked baseball team in the nation in 93. I don't know if you recall some of those years of the Todd Richies, the Steve Gibraltars, David Gibraltar. I played with Chad Allen. I can name drop for a while. But so I was a high school quarterback that had scholarship opportunities in football. Starting outfielder for Duncanville High School, had opportunities in baseball. One of the reasons why I chose, and this was through some really good leadership with my parents, i.e. Mr. Salas, I chose to go to Montana State University because I could not play both sports while I was there. We determined if I was going to be good at one, I needed to put one of them down. I could not continue to separate my time 50-50 with both and achieve my goals of reaching the next level. I couldn't go anywhere in the country that had a baseball program and not play. I couldn't go anywhere in the country that had a football program and not play. So I chose to go to Montana State that did not play baseball, which gave me an opportunity to concentrate 100% on football. Worked out well for me. And it's a very difficult decision, and it's a very difficult conversation amongst the young men and their parents and all the people pulling them in so many different directions. What's been difficult in what we're dealing with now is with having so many opportunities to continue to play on different levels and continue to keep yourself relevant in multiple sports. That's what's made it so much more difficult for some of these kids to choose what they want to do. Made it very difficult for coaches like yourself to say, hey, you've really separated yourself here. I know you're okay over here, so why don't you go and concentrate on this? But when they're still getting all of this other publication and they're still competing well because they can play multiple sports year round, the decisions are much tougher now than what they used to be. So I really can't imagine what kind of positions that you are in as a coach, parents and players are in when they're still competing at a high level in multiple sports and can't put one of them down in order to reach the next level at one.
You know what's the toughest? Is that when the kid tries to fulfill what the parents want. So you can get a kid to say, Coach, I really love baseball. For me, I'm going like, let's go do baseball. It would kill my dad.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean?
You're hearing these conversations.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is real. This ain't make believe.
Like in 2021.
Yeah, like 2 months ago. So you get those. Is like, well, it's hard. It's difficult. Is because kids really try to please their parents. They really do.
And it's really sobering for baseball because, Dad, I really love baseball. son, I don't know if we can afford all that travel. Hey, you're good over here on the football field. That's free. Come on, let's go do that. Or that scholarship is going to be 100% if you're blessed enough to get it.
Yes.
That baseball scholarship might be 35%,
Right.
maybe. That means if you want to go to Baylor, I'm now paying $60,000 a year, and you on scholarship.
You on scholarship.
If you don't get approved for the other scholarships that are out there,
Right.
whether it's minority or whatever it may be, that can chop into some of that additional or that other 65%.
But see, and here's where I stood on the baseball part. Because of what you're talking about, I use that same thing in my recruiting seminars, the 11.7. I said, now look, if you are draftable, it changes the game. Because like you said, going through the showcase and you've seen the scouts at the game, I've seen the Cleveland Indians, seen the Chicago Cubs, seen those guys, you're going to get drafted. Okay, well now, I used to advise, and you can speak more to this, about the guaranteed money for college. He said, if you can get that deal done, well, Quan Cosby, Sergio Benson, hey, go try baseball, it's done. Well, I got the money. See, a lot of people don't realize that Quan wasn't on football scholarship because he got that baseball money. So speak to that.
MLB team that he was drafted by had in his contract that they would pay for his school.
That's what I'm talking about, yes.
So he could go to school at UT, $0.
Right.
And
then
not take
he was
away from
going
a
to
scholarship.
play baseball in the summer during the non-football season. If you're draftable, meaning if you are a legitimate blue chip recruit on a baseball diamond, typically that baseball scholarship at Vanderbilt is going to be 85, 90 to 100%. So you're taking up a full 1% of that 11.7.
Right.
They've got two pitchers there right now that have dropped everybody else to 9.7 because both of those guys have 100% scholarships.
Well, that's all because of David Price.
Yes.
That
That helps.
That helped.
Kumar Rocker, and the other one is the other son of the former Major League Baseball player. I just drawn a blank on his name. But both of those kids have essentially 100% scholarships.
Right.
Whatever athletically that they chose to leave on the table for somebody else, they made up for in academic scholarship. So either way, it's not costing them a dime. If you're a true blue chip baseball player, then that's an avenue that you can realistically take a look at. But if that's not the case for you, then you have some decisions to make.
Right.
Well, gentlemen, we have reached the part of the show where we're going to land the plane.
Yeah.
Cuff, give me your glass.
Yeah.
I had runway earlier, so now we landed.
Oh, you good. Hey, this segment is brought to you by the good folks at Grand Brulot Cognac. Thank you to Francisco, the owner. Our deepest condolences to you, sir. Thank you to Jameson, the Lovers team, everybody who's a part of this partnership. Grand Brulot Cognac, folks, get to it. The Instagram handle is at Grand Brulot. That's BRULOT. Cuff your glass, please, sir.
Yeah. And so while he's doing that, I want to do a quick round table because we have 3 different vantage points, right? Select baseball or select coach. I don't want to limit you to specifically baseball, but select coach, a high school head coach, and then the parent. What is your advice? It's the same question for everybody. What is your advice to parents of student athletes that are trying to get to the next level, whether they are a sophomore, junior, or senior?
Grades. 4.0 or bust. I don't care what you got to do. I don't care if you got to take basket weaving. They don't care if it's an AP course. They don't care if it's your parent coach teaching the class. 4.0. You will not get recruited from certain schools because of your grades. You will lose out on opportunities of a lifetime because of your grades. My kid has friends who can't even think about going to some of the places he can go because they got a D in PE as a freshman. Sure. I mean, there's
They want to dress out.
There's schools that will not even take a second look at you because of your grades. So
Don't need to.
And the bad part about that is especially when it comes to minorities, and this really goes to anybody, but when you have a parent who's not involved, and especially a kid who's jumping out of 8th grade to freshman year, you don't think about their second year in college at that time. And you don't think that, okay, he could have went to Dartmouth, but he failed PE as a freshman. He could have went to Rice, but he decided to not stay up that night and study for the English test as a freshman, first semester, and so that is a very big deal. Focus on the grades. My second thing is, if you want your kid to be to the next level, you have to be involved. The high school coaches, they get a salary. This is their job, just like all of us have jobs. Their job is to keep their job. And if you're not the best player, if you're not big enough, if you're not strong enough, you're going to sit on that bench until they decide when it's the best time for you to get on that field. Now, if you want to elevate that and become faster, now you have a better chance to get there. If you want to elevate that and switch positions, now you have a chance to elevate that. Make sure you put yourself in the best position to be great. My last thing with that is to do the extra training that it takes. Sam Houston, as great as an off-season program as they have, it's not all you're going to have to do if you want to be the best in the nation. You're going to have to go to camps. You're going to have to find you a D-line coach. You're going to have to find you the best cornerback coach in the state to work on your footwork. You're going to have a personal trainer. If I told you the things that my kids have, I might get in trouble because we spend way too much money to make sure he's the best athlete in the country. And personally, I believe he's the best tight end in the country because he's fast, he's big, and he's strong. But that comes with 2 wide receiver coaches. That comes with 2 recruiting coordinators. That comes with a personal trainer. The only thing we don't have is a dietitian. And so the things that it takes, and not every kid is going to take that, but when you want your kid to be the best, you got to go into your pockets. It's not easy. And that's either on the political side or paying for certain recruiting coordinators, or it's on the side to make sure your kid's the fastest in the Metroplex because you got him with a speed coach. But you can't just sit back and say, Coach Chris, you got him. He's going to be the best. He's going to be a 5-star just because of what you do. It has to be on another level because all the kids are doing it. The kid that was like me, that was 5'9", 240, and wanted to be the best defensive tackle in the country, now that kid has a personal trainer making sure that he can bench press as much as possible. Now he has a speed coach. Now he has a D-line coach. My little nephew is a freshman at North McKinney. He goes to a D-line coach every single Sunday, and it's costing his parents money, but they know if he gets a scholarship to wherever, university or whoever, it's going to be worth it. And he wants to do it. So you got to push your kids. My kid wants to play PlayStation right now, but he better be working on his English homework, and he better get ready for his off-season workouts in the morning. So that's my...
I want to summarize it for you. It's just investment. Invest in your child.
And I don't even want to make it that simple because people think it's that simple. It's deeper than that if you want them to be, because
it's involved.
It's involved. And
I watch Salas on a daily basis because we're very, very close. And his involvement, his engagement is beyond reproach. I don't know if maybe 5% of parents out there do what you do. And I tip my hat off to you, sir, for that. But what I'm consistently hearing is that you can't sit on the sideline and pass them over to the head coach at the school or whatever sport it is, or the select coach, and expect that this is 1985, right? Because it's not. And that's really what I wanted to bring to the table. And you know, a lot of our listeners, our visionaries, are, you know, about your age, maybe a little bit older, that have kids that are on the cusp of coming into college. So I think it's definitely something worth noting, and for those younger parents that are out there, they can hear. So I'm going to throw it over to you two coaches. You know, what's one piece of advice that you would want to give out?
I would say make sure that you're well-rounded. And what I mean by that is make sure that you stay involved with other groups or entities that helps you build some other character traits and other characteristics that make you just a well-rounded person. I don't want you coming to me and sports is the only thing that you can bring to the table. I want you to have some leadership traits.
That's good.
You function outside of the athletic arena.
Absolutely. And those are the other characteristics, traits, or entities that are going to help you become a well-rounded individual after sports is over.
That's good. That's real good. All right, to the most seasoned professional in the lab, piece of advice that you would give parents.
I would say what both of these two gentlemen have spoke on, it's because everything that they said is needed and it's true. You have to be able to have involvement and investment. You heard me say along the way that, you know, we spent so much money to our kid. We was involved, we was there, got up and we drove 5 o'clock in the morning, came back home, got a hotel, went somewhere to make sure that it happened. But at the end of the day, that parents got to understand is that what is your goal in your household? I always tell kids and I tell parents, I'm going to follow your parent. So if Salas comes to me and says, Coach Chris, he can't play if he gets an 89.
Man.
So if
That's a whole nother conversation.
if he gets an 89, he doesn't get to play.
That actually happened to me.
Yes.
I'm sorry. It still pains me to this day. But I'm going to let it go.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it happen. I've seen a mom pull up when I was at ODY, blew the horn, and I sent the kid. I knew. He said, Coach, I knew. She told you, straight A, you have an 89. Bye. Well, when you support, when you understand, and it takes time, but when you understand the goal of the household, the goal of the family, and basically what I'm saying is have goals.
Yes, sir.
Set goals for your kids. Set goals for the family. I advise parents all the time. If you are close to your kid, don't send your kid to. This is bad. Don't send your kid to Washington State. If you're here in the Metroplex, if you've grown up and you have no family, and you know he's a homebody, don't send him to Washington State. I'm gonna give you a little story. Now I'm gonna be through. I promise I'm gonna do anchor rant.
You good?
My son was he was a national recruit. I mean, Miami, LSU, Wisconsin, Minnesota, USC, Texas. I mean, we got all these offers, right? My wife comes in one day and she looks. She says, Miami, Wisconsin, Minnesota, USC, UCLA. Literally on the map, she said, you went to the outer edges of the United States.
Yes, sir.
All of those are off the table. She said, son, you know if you get a runny nose, if you get the sniffles, you want to be near your mama. So you know you can't go that far to school. And he loved Miami. He had all kind of jerseys we bought on online. So my wife went through and wiped it out. So when we came down to it, it was Texas, Baylor, and SMU. So our goal was, everybody would say, why didn't you go to Texas? Because we didn't do Texas, Baylor, and SMU. We did Hankerman School of Business, Cox School of Business, Macomb School of Business. So those are the 3 places you could go because you want a business degree. Those are the best. And so I said, and we made a collective decision, out of those 3, I don't care. Parents make this huge mistake. See, I'm just going on my rant. I'm trying not to do that. Parents say, it's his decision. And I say this, okay, could he go get in your car when he wanted to? At 17? No. Can he have anybody to your house when he wants to? No, Coach. Can he wear anything he want to wear with your money? I said no. So the biggest decision he went to make in his life outside of picking his spouse.
Wow. Jim.
You now go through 17 years, 18 years of saying, here, and now you want to say, it's his decision? It's not.
Come on.
It's you all's decision, and it's ultimately his decision when y'all come to the decision of what you all know. Because you know him better than he know himself. And so now when mom and daddy say, hey, you know what? We're good with these 5. Pick these 5. Be 10. We good with these 10. Because now, you know, guess what? If my baby gets the sniffles, and he's a mama's baby, and if he is in Montana, you know, how we gonna get to him? Okay, if something happens, guess what we do? Oh, how many flights a day go to Montana? So if it's 6 o'clock in the afternoon, we can't get to Montana.
24 hours.
So we got to wait. We can't get in the car and drive there either. So we got to wait to the next one. So what I say to them is have a plan. What I do at some point, I say, I'm in it. I've done my part. Now I'm out. I had a kid, true story. I had a kid change commitments 4 days in a row.
Why?
Because he got an offer from this school. He was there, I'm committed.
Direction.
Then I got an offer this school. Then somebody on Twitter said, yeah, until the next school offers. Wow. He became a laughingstock on Twitter. Mm-hmm. So I had to jump back in and say, look, it's Twitter, it's social media, they're supposed to. I said, but you have to make a decision.
I hope he got on.
He did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's going 4 years, got a big deal. So that's my point is, have a plan, have a goal, and I tell them all the time, use your family, and when I say your family, your extended family. If I got a guy Coach OT has been heavily involved with, Coach OT, I need you to come in here. Now, can this dude go to Arizona? Coach, he can't go away from here. I've been with him since he was 7 years old. He's a great player. He's a great kid, but he needs the stability. I might need to reach and go get him. You know, we got Houston on the table. It's better for him to go to Houston because worst comes, if the mom and dad can't get to him, I can get to him. Yeah. You know, he can't function out there in Arizona. There's nobody in Arizona. So, and when I say extended family, you make a collective deal because everybody knows the kid. Because this is what I hate. But it's okay now because every conference has taken away the transfer rule, the transfer portal. You joking the transfer next year don't matter.
2027.
But still, I mean, that's going. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I always say this: if you all get together and you all make it, I tell kids all the time, okay, the game has changed. Take it. If you don't like it, transfer. But then I said, but know this: there's over 800 kids in the portal who don't have a place to go.
Man.
It sounds good on the surface,
boy,
but there's over 800 kids. It's like I went in that portal, and guess what that coach said at Cuffy University? No, you entered the portal. You don't want to be here. I hope you find somewhere to go because you can't come back here.
Wow.
So that's it. That's my deal.
Well,
I'm a benediction. I'm close.
Let me
The doors of the church open.
as we close out here, first and foremost, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you guys for jumping into the lab and being a part of this. I think it's important, right? There's been a big shift in recruiting as it relates to any sport, not just football. Obviously, we're in the great state of Texas and football is dominant and king. But baseball is certainly right there, in basketball, track, whatever. And I think all of this permeates throughout each of those sports, if not others, right? Whether even lacrosse, right? We ask this question to every single guest on the show. So I'm going to pose this. I want you guys to keep it brief and short, but I'll start with you, OT. What's the long-term vision from one Mr. Omar Turner?
The long-term vision from one Mr. Omar Turner. Wow. So I have a 18-year-old who is currently at the house, just graduated from high school last year. I have a 19-year-old daughter who is at University of North Texas right now. I have a 6-year-old son who is still kicking people in the shins. The long-term goal for me is to make sure that I have done everything in my power to set their path and provide everything that they need in order to give them the best start along their path as I possibly can. Once that is accomplished from myself and their mother, then I feel like it's time for me to reap the reward of their journey.
Amen. Amen. Coach Chris, what's the long-term vision for one Mr. Anthony Chris?
Well, mine is a short term because I lived a long time.
Hey, you got a lot longer to go. Don't do that. You got a lot longer to go.
A long time. I'm at the end very much. Is that just my vision is to see that, and it's always been the same, for my kids to turn into productive citizens. That's it. For my football kids, everybody's been in my program, I want you to be a productive citizen. To look at my kids are grown. They're 34, 33, 32, and 31. And so just to see what they're doing, that they all are productive, that they all went to school, they all did what they were supposed to do. And just now to continue, I tell all my people, be a good citizen, contribute to this society. And I hope somewhere along the way that I've helped my kids, that I've coached, that I've had an impact on their lives to make sure that they are a good citizen. I have a kid who's just is running for mayor in Arlington, one of my former students. And so when I see things like that, I see a couple of my kids who become millionaires and then they've not forgotten their way. And so that's the short term for me, is to make sure that they continue in that vein. And I've always told to my kids, you give back to your community. You do not forget where you came from. You go back into your community and you make sure that you bring along the next person because you made yourself better, so you make somebody else better. Now that you know better, you do better. And so for me, that's what it has always been. That's what always been my push. That's what always I have done. I tell people all the time, I don't care about the record. One district championship, one playoff game, all this. But you know what I'm concerned about? Is my reward and my raise is every time I get an invitation to a graduation. Every time I get that, and I look at that, and I really literally have tears, because this now we are meant to go. Now you have a chance, and if you have a chance to be successful in life, that's what I envision for my students, and that's what I envision for my family. So that's Coach Chris' short-term version, because it's long-term.
No, I'm not going to let you. We're going to change that word from short to long. You ain't going nowhere. You ain't going to go nowhere. Salas.
Man, it's tough to go behind both of those guys. I want to appreciate y'all for having me. I've been watching this thing grow for, 2 years now.
Yeah.
You guys have done a great job. I'm very proud of y'all. Especially, I know you had some media background and you had none, and the way you've turned this thing out to where it's at now, it's amazing. Can't wait to see where you guys go. As far as for me, my focus is my family. I want to make sure, me and wifey are good. We want to, continue to grow as young adults. We're a couple steps away from 40. We're hoping to, take the steps that 40-year-olds take. Start looking towards retirement. All that stuff is all set. We're good with that. With my child, though, his daddy has had a great life. I've done the media thing I've wanted to do. I've seen a lot of the Americas. I ain't gonna say the whole world because I ain't been to Europe or Africa yet, but I've seen a lot of the United States and the Americas and the Mexicos and all that stuff. So I'm good, but I want him to be able to enjoy what God has given us, this beautiful earth. I want him to be able to find a beautiful wife, enjoy life, enjoy time with his friends, one day get to enjoy a great cigar with his dad, go out to Vegas and have a good time. I just want him to enjoy life, have a long, great life, go to the right school and be able to start his professional career, whether that's in business, entrepreneurial stuff, or, a corporate world. Just want him to be happy. That's why I focus so much on him, because my life revolves around the fact that I went to the greatest school in America. I went to Southeastern Oklahoma State University. And I met my beautiful wife there. I had my beautiful child there. And I wouldn't change anything for the world of that. And so I want him to feel the same way, no matter what school he goes to, as when he says, man, I went to this school, I got to play football, whether he gets to go to the pros or not. I want him to know that because of the things that we did when he was in high school, it elevated him to the next step to go to a great school and to have a great life. So that's for my long term.
Well, I'm hoping that I can have a cigar with him too.
Amen.
Okay. This has been huge. This has been a really, really cool moment. We've known each other for 5, 6, 7 years.
Oh my gosh. It's been a while.
Coach Chris knew me before I knew Coach Chris. And Salas, you're my right hand man, the godfather to my daughter, and so this has been a big deal. I think we really did a good job of encapsulating what it looks like for parents of student athletes and what they have to go through, or what they potentially have to go through in 2021 and beyond. Now, obviously, we can't speak to what's going to happen in 2030, right? We don't know what that looks like. But if you're a parent out there that has a student athlete that has some go to them, right? Or even if they don't, and they're academic, bottom line, the one singular thing that I've heard from each and every one of you is be involved. Be involved, engage, show that you care, take the extra step, because ultimately that's what's going to help propel your kid to the next level. And that's what we're talking about, right? Is getting your kid to the next level, because that's your job. And I think a lot of times all of us have children. But I promise you this, not one of our kids asked to be here. Okay? So we have to do what we have to do to make sure that child is positioned to be the most successful that they can be. And so with that, gentlemen, I want to give a quick special shout out to Coach Chris. You're such an impactful and an influential person to hundreds, if not thousands of children and young student athletes across the North Texas area. You've done a fantastic job. I want to tip my hat off to you, sir, for everything that you've done for a lot of people. I don't know if you get the recognition that you deserve, or if you even do get the recognition that you deserve. But at the end of the day, I want you to know that somebody notices and somebody appreciates what you've done. Salas, I want to tip my hat off to you for being the parent that I need to be, for showing me the way in terms of being involved and caring and being engaging. There's not a day that goes by that you're not working with your son on some aspect, whether it's academic or athletic or interpersonal. OT, thank you for just being the coach to kids that you don't even, that you haven't had into this world. That I think a lot of times people overlook the fact that people are taking on ownership of kids that aren't theirs. And so this has been a phenomenal episode. Gentlemen, I just want to say I'm blessed to be in your presence. The energy was fantastic. It was absolutely amazing. Who knows how many lives this has impacted. So thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to the TheVisionLab podcast. It's been another phenomenal episode. Remember, each one of our guests are dropping nuggets of wisdom here on the Trail of Life. Ultimately, it's up to you to pick them up.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Mosley. He is Ryan Cuffey. Thank you again to Omar, to Coach Anthony Chris, and to Stephen Salas. We will see you guys next week on another great episode of the TheVisionLab podcast.
Blessings.